Joni Mitchell is one of those people from the 70s that always got really great musicians with her. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but you probably heard the name Jaco Pastorius used to play with her. Not on this album though, which I was surprised.
We watched a documentary about him, didn't we?
Probably so. I mean, he's like a very well-known, eccentric bass player.
Yeah, we watched a documentary on Jaco.
Yeah, jazz player.
Yeah.
And she attracted a lot of jazz musicians, which was interesting because her songs were very much folk-based. But then when you threw the jazz in there, it's like, you know, they were fusing a lot of things together in the 70s, so I guess that was the thing. So, but this was her most commercial album, which it was released to immediate critical acclaim, I read. You know, and it's even been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame for whatever that's worth.
Nice.
It's sold multi-platinum now, so I think it's like a couple million records. But I've always heard of, and I'm not familiar with the album as much as this album, because I've owned this album for quite a long time. But the Court and Spark, this is the name of the album this is on. But I've always heard of her album Blue, and that was a very big album for her also. But I probably am not as well versed, I'm ashamed to admit, on Joni Mitchell as I should be. And I think that, you know, it's like I knew her music as a kid even because of, I never knew the name of the song title, but like the Paved Paradise and put up
Big
a
Yellow Taxi.
Yeah, Big Yellow Taxi. Yeah. And there was a cover of it when I was a kid that was a hit. And I don't remember who did the cover.
I really like that song.
But
we did a cover of it.
I think we did that one. Yeah.
We did, yeah.
We did that one, and I like it. I think she's a very good songwriter.
I just love the line in that song that we're gonna take all the trees and put them in a tree museum.
Mm-hmm. It's great. I mean, you know, the folk. One thing I really miss about the music of that era, and you know, she palled around a lot with Crosby, Stills and Nash and those guys, and they were active through music. And Dylan, you know, and the Beatniks and all this stuff, and they had a message to bring
something to say,
to the world, something to say. And I think that now it goes back and forth of, you know, shut up, you're just a musician, we don't need to listen to you, and I don't want to say anything because I don't want to be offensive, you know. So there's like a weird dichotomy of the way things are, and I think that, but art is meant to be impactful, right? I mean, it's meant to be interpreted and digested, and really good art changes how people perceive the world.
We were talking recently about AI art. AI art. And yes, how it's, some of them, they really do embody like what artists try to do, but it's, some of them are bending down a curve that I don't think a lot of artists endeavor to bend down, because it makes you feel something, but it's not necessarily a positive feeling.
Right.
Some of this art that's coming out through the artificial intelligence makes you feel it's eerie and odd, and gives you that sense of unease. And
do you think that it gives you the unease because it's able to perceive something that maybe we're not? Well, it's taking an unbiased thing, and it's like, it's making art from an unemotional place.
It's truly objective.
It's true. Like, it's truly like
it doesn't our think, subjective and objective, you know, thing again.
It doesn't think good or bad. It just generates. It just generates something.
Yeah.
And then we're the ones that put the emotion on it. So that's kind of interesting to me, you know.
Yeah.
And you can kind of shape it by the words and things that you put in. It's for sure. It's
yeah, for sure.
So I mean, if you put in a lot of negative words, you're gonna have some negative art. And
I wonder
stuff.
too, though. Like, is it a reflection from a completely objective source? However, I do pause with that theory because it's gleaning its material from subjective art sources.
Right.
So it's using art that humans have created to inform its generation of art.
Right.
So it is subjective art through an objective lens, through really static verbiage.
It's kind of like
to become subjective again.
it's like a highly filtered Xerox machine, right? Because
I think it's kind of like the telephone game, though.
yeah,
It's the art telephone game.
Yeah, it can be that way. You can look at that in a lot of different ways because, like, say you tell AI to make you a story, it really just takes thousands of stories and then compiles what it thinks it knows into another story.
Right.
You know, so.
I mean, isn't that all stories?
Yeah.
It's just through the human filter.
It is. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept, and I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's too new to pass judgment on it.
Yeah.
But
just so long as it's not passing judgment on us, I think we're gonna be all right.
As long as they keep it like to itself.
Yeah. Peaceful.
Please keep it aware. So
yeah.
Back to Joni Mitchell. I saw, and I don't know if she had some health related things or not, but I saw that she'd gotten on stage, like, I guess this past summer for the first time in many years. And she'd done a set at the Newport Folk Festival with, I want to say, a newer artist, Brandy Carlisle, who's like running in the folk scene or country folk scene nowadays. So that was encouraging to see.
Well, Joni, she's artist of all sorts. She does painting as well.
Never seen her painting, have you?
Yes. I've seen some of her paintings. Actually, you have seen some of her paintings too. Yeah, so if you remember, it was back early last winter, early spring.
Okay.
We were watching one of her concerts and she was showing her art before the concert and during. It was around, and I don't remember if she was auctioning off some of them or something like that. I don't remember what she was doing with it. But yeah, you actually saw some of her paintings. But the premise that we were there for was to listen to her music.
Right.
So that might have been. It was on we were actively listening, not necessarily actively watching.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that after learning her song, one of her songs, two of her songs. Oh, you know what? Didn't we do a Christmas song?
We did.
For ours last year?
Yeah, we did.
In fact, that was a really fun song. That was much of a challenge.
You know what?
What was the name of that song?
Joni Mitchell. I'm gonna say right now, this woman picks notes and chords and cadence of speech that it just boggles my brain. It boggles my brain. Like, this song was aptly named "Help Me" because you well know I needed lots of help because why did she pick that note for there? Why did she pick that interval? How did she come to this progression right now, both on the guitar and on the what happened that led her brain to this is the answer for this song? It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's still, even having performed it, it still boggles me how she arrived there.
It makes me wonder on songs that have like big, I guess they catch your ear because when people talk, it's pretty low inflection rate, but songs that jump multiple pitches, like intervals, I should say, like wider intervals. It's like, why and how do they get there? And that makes me think the song is it's like a weird blend of technical and emotional. And it makes me wonder how many revisions did it go through to get there? Like when it was first performed, it feels to me,
it's very intentional.
I'm not trying to be critical, but it feels to me like it went through a lot of revisions because in my mind, it's because of the way the melody shifts from verse to verse and the amount of syllables that fit from verse to verse and the way that they get kind of forced in nature, almost like to keep time and to fill the space correctly, that it would have had to have been revised to, like, maybe, when you play a single person in guitar or a single person in piano, you can adapt
because when you're coming in.
In, and you can have a little bit looser of a feeling with time.
Yes.
But I almost have this feeling like this song at some point didn't have a strict timing to it. And then
that's very possible.
And then it was fit into more of a standard timing thing.
An album cut?
For an album cut. And the drummer,
I mean,
once
that makes
in there.
sense,
So
yeah.
that's what it feels like to me as a musician. But
I'm gonna
I think
say,
that
though,
either way, I'm pretty impressed. I like it. I like the result.
I think listening to a bunch of her songs, like if we sat down and listened to that concert again, or if we listened to an album, just listen to the whole thing through, I think that's just her style. I think that's part of what she does, is she's got a lot to say, but she also wants the music to have space to say something as well. So she will hurry up and say her thing and then let the music stretch out a bit, and then she'll say another thing in a little short space of time, and then let that music stretch out again. I think that's part of her, I don't want to say formula because that's not exactly right, but part of the way that she operates.
The way she expresses.
I think so, because I think as a musician, like playing an instrumentalist as well as a vocalist, she wants space for both of those things in performance.
It makes sense.
I mean, I appreciate it, but
I like it.
She still boggles my mind. Wow.
I like it. And, there's no really sticking to her guitar parts because her tunings are a mystery.
She makes them up.
Yeah, she literally makes up
I heard that Bob Dylan said he was playing something, and they went, what is that? What is that you're playing? He goes, it's a Joni chord.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have a name. Joni made it up.
Well, a lot of it, and it's because, like, if you watch her, she's playing a shape that's not a conventional chord, but she's tuned the guitar to something that she likes.
Yeah.
Or
she
maybe is open tuning.
Found the
could be
sound
open
she
tuning,
wanted.
But it could be the tuning of like an A9 chord, and then it's like that's not something that people normally play in. So then, she's made these other notes. So when you play chords in standard tuning to one of these songs, unless there's been another guitar song there that tracked a rhythm track, like in this case it had Larry Carlton, who's a great jazz player, and he probably picked up a lot of it by ear, and there's inversions in chords that work over what she's doing to give it the melodic structure, but it's not exactly what she's playing, and I don't know that anybody would know. I don't believe that anybody would know, exactly what it was and exactly how she phrased
without
it.
watching her do it.
And she may not have done it from time to time the same, It's like...
No, and watching her do her concert, she changes the melodic structure of her songs and the cadence of her speech there even further, and I'm just re-baffled over the same songs.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you have a song like that's kind of like makes me think like, how did you ever come up with that? So the Dollhouse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It seems very much like it actually seems very. Dollhouse seems very much influenced by Joni Mitchell.
It's funny. It's funny.
To me, especially early on, like, because I think it was written one way and then it took a revision.
Yeah.
And it was a major vocal revision.
Because I didn't like it. Like it was too...
You said it wasn't interesting.
It was vanilla. It was really just...
Well, now it's very interesting.
Now it's very interesting.
And the vocal moves a lot.
Yeah.
Much like a Joni Mitchell thing would.
Yeah.
So I think, here's the thing that I've noticed about music is that truly great artists, what they're doing to them isn't hard. It's not like that's just what comes natural from Joni.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think that's part of her. And
try to emulate
style.
her, and try to perform her songs. We're trying to be the AI. We're trying to. We're analyzing.
Be me. Yeah.
We're analyzing. We're listening over and over and over and over to it. And then we're trying to spit out an approximation of it or a Xerox copy, as I said.
Well, not a Xerox, because we want our own. We're doing our own thing.
So we are...
We're tipping our hat to her
Xerox never
original.
Looks like the original, right?
Right.
I mean,
if your Xerox days, is good, yeah.
In Xerox days, it didn't. There was always like lighting issues.
Is Xerox even around still?
I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? It's like it gives an approximation, and that's what we're doing. We're giving an approximation, and we're offering our life experience and feelings into the song,
right?
Right. But then also trying to give a nod to her and what she did, But I think that's the way that it is, and I think that, you know, it's an honor and a pleasure to do original music, because no matter how hard somebody tries to play our original songs, they can be a great copy, but they'll only ever be a copy, you know,
right,
or an approximation of it, you know,
right.
So
well, I look at it more of,
now I'd love to see other people's takes on our songs if they do it differently and they expand on it.
I enjoy being able to influence people, and it's not like I want to change your mind about something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about through our original music to be able to maybe shift your mood into a better place, or to show you that you're not alone, or that your feelings are echoed out in the universe by somebody else. And I feel like original music, like from my heart, is reaching out to somebody and hopefully touching theirs. And so, like, from a musician to a musician, I hope that's the place that we influence them. That the technical stuff, that's great, but I really hope that we influence the heart of other musicians to reach out to other people's hearts and show them they're not alone, and that we're all struggling with some of the same stuff, and you know, the same highs and lows together.
I mean, that's what music's about, right? Is bringing people together.
Right. Hey, I'm going to loop around just a little bit here, because I started thinking about the Joni chords again. So I know you weren't like a huge Friends fan, but you're familiar with Phoebe, right? The Friends character. And you know, she played guitar and was kind of like a folky person. So there was this episode where she was trying to teach guitar, but she didn't know the chords. She didn't know the name of the chords. So she was teaching the shapes.
Gotcha.
But she had names for them. It was like Bear Paw and Hawk. I'm gonna have to show you that episode so you can give your take on it, because I found it hilarious, because I do some of that same kind of thing in my brain when you talk about chord shapes. Like, for instance, the D, I'm like, that's definitely a triangle shape.
Yeah.
The hawk. Nice mug you got there.
Thank you. And if you like what we're doing and you want to help support, you can get a mug just like it. And I don't know if you can see it from there, but maybe.
Just hold it.
We got on the one side, we got Sunday Shout Out established. And switch on the good vibes on this side.
Yeah, good vibes.
It's a metal camp mug. I like it.
No microwaving.
No microwaving.
It's cool.